Coming up in news, a former Baha board member questions the government's love affair with China state construction. Plus,
the DNA leader says the government needs to get out of bed with the Chinese in regards to Baha. That story straight ahead.
Arnett Ingram responds to heavy criticism against BPL. That story's coming up straight ahead.
Grand Bahama Minister Michael Darville gives an update on relief on that island. That story straight ahead.
welcome to Our News. I'm Dana Smith. Thanks for joining us. Topping news tonight, Baha developer Sarkis Izmirlian's efforts to take back ownership of the Cable Beach Resort will probably prove futile, according to former Baha board member Dionisio de Aguilar. This after Izmirlian criticized the sale of Baha's assets to Perfect Luck Holdings Limited and said his offer to purchase the resort is still on the table. De Aguilar said it seems to him the government is more aligned with the foreign bank and construction company rather than the developer.
What the Bahamians cannot understand is what is this love affair with China state construction.
The office of the Prime Minister said last week, if Izmirlian wants to purchase Baha's assets, he needs to deal with Perfect Luck, the new owner. But in a letter yesterday, Izmirlian said his offer has only been met with silence by Perfect Luck, the Exim Bank, or anyone else associated with those companies, something Izmirlian dubbed bizarre. He charged this refusal to engage him, even if only to discuss his proposal, doesn't make economic sense, nor is it in the best interest for the future of Baha or the Bahamas. De Aguilar said it's unfortunate that Izmirlian keeps knocking, but no one is answering the door.
I want you to think of the penthouse at Baha, where the Chinese and the government have gone into the penthouse at Baha and put on the Do Not Disturb sign.
De Aguilar also questioned the secrecy surrounding the matter, something Izmirlian also pointed to in his letter, where he charged construction has not restarted at the property and the mysterious buyer has not been identified.
The only reason in my mind that you don't want to disclose it is because there's something in there that you don't want the Bahamian people to know about. What did you have to give up? What are the concessions? What taxes are they paying they're not paying? So clearly, there is a reason why they're delaying the disclosure of the details of the sale.
De Aguilar said he understands the government may have felt disrespected by that surprise bankruptcy filing, but at the end of the day, it's a mistake that the government decided to side with the bank and the construction company rather than Izmirlian.
At the end of the day, he would have been a far better operator of that hotel than some no-name Chinese company that has no experience operating in this jurisdiction. We know nothing about them. I just don't get that warm, fuzzy feeling that I get with Sarkis Izmirlian. I think that this is a mistake.
Well, Democratic National Alliance leader Brandon McCartney suggested today the government needs to get out of bed with the Chinese government and reveal the details of the recent Baha sale. Simone Davis has the details.
McCartney is the latest to question the existence of Perfect Luck Holdings Limited.
We don't know. We don't know what's going on. We certainly don't know the terms of that terms of the sale. We don't know who are the persons behind that entity. And I dare say, having read yesterday, that the cabinet is not aware of who these persons are.
Many questioned Perfect Luck's legitimacy after the government announced that Perfect Luck had bought Baha but failed to reveal who actually owned the company. Long Island MP Loretta Butler Turner yesterday called for clarity on the company, charging that Perfect Luck is actually a special purpose vehicle for the Export-Import Bank of China to move debt off its books. McCartney says as far as he's concerned, all of the news surrounding Baha is based on speculation because Bahamians have not been told the truth.
We're speculating because we really don't know, and the government has not been forthcoming. It would seem as if the government is very much in bed with the Chinese, and which is concerning, which is a communist country.
McCartney also asserted that had the Freedom of Information Act been put in place when it was supposed to, then Bahamians would not be left to speculate.
I guess this is what you call transparent government that the PLP talk about. What is amazing, recently they said that they're going to have to delay the Freedom of Information Act because of the hurricane. Well, that's a sham. That's a farce in my view.
Reporting for our news, I'm Simone Davis.
To date, more than 98% of BPL customers have had their electricity restored, but the company is still coming under heavy fire about the pace of restoration. And now many are questioning how the company will compensate its customers, as Giorgio Stirrup reports.
Public Relations Manager for Bahamas Power and Light, Arnett Ingram, says despite being heavily criticized for working at a slow pace, she's proud of BPL workers for getting electricity restored in a safe and timely manner.
We know that there are some lessons that we have to learn from this storm, but for the most part, we think our crew did an awesome job.
Now that the majority of customers in New Providence and North and Central Andros have been restored, many are now asking what the company plans to do to compensate customers who went weeks without power.
Unfortunately, given the financial state of the company, that's something that is extremely difficult for us to do. What we are doing is we've extended the payment terms for our customers in terms of bills for this month. So for the month of October, which is September's billing period actually, September's consumption period rather, what we've done is given customers 45 days to pay those bills, as opposed to our traditional 21-day period.
Ingram says they are aiming to have restoration complete this week. With fewer than 600 customers left to be restored in isolated areas, she sees this as a likely occurrence.
What we're focusing now is individual service issues, so referring to those customers who have an LV line down just outside their house, or there's a service issue right to their service mast.
Ingram admitted that some areas like Yamakra are still without power, but says the company is simply waiting on the green light from the Ministry of Works to get those areas up and running.
We're talking about pockets of customers, 3 or 4 customers impacted, but nowhere is there a general restoration effort underway in terms of big communities. We do still have some areas like Yamakra, Hannah Road, and also Marshall Road that were impacted by flooding. And what happens in those areas is that the Ministry of Works has to complete its inspections before we go in and restore power to those customers.
Reporting for our news, I'm Giorgio Stirrup.
Weeks after Hurricane Matthew slammed into Grand Bahama as a major Category 4 storm, restoration on that island is now entering Phase 2. That's according to Minister for Grand Bahama Michael Darville, who admits there is no quick fix for the amount of devastation caused by the storm. Our Jasmine Brown has the details.
While Darville admits that it will be a very long time before Grand Bahama is back to normal, he says those recovery efforts are well underway.
Grand Bahama was one of the islands hardest hit by the storm after Matthew leveled homes, brought a massive sea surge, and snapped hundreds of lamp poles, leaving most residents on that island without power for almost 2 weeks.
And we're now moving into the second phase, which is basically to do the technical assessments of the homes that have been damaged, as well as the social assessments to see how many people have truly been impacted.
It is estimated that 95% of the buildings in the 8 Mile Rock, Holmes Rock, and West End Grand Bahama received significant damage from Hurricane Matthew. Darville says due to the extensive damage caused to homes in those areas, more than 70 people, including entire families, are homeless.
Presently, social service have about 71 people in temporary residence, while we do the assessments to determine exactly what sort of relief we're going to bring to the individuals who are affected the most.
Major resorts will also need help getting back on their feet after the storm forced the closure of several properties. In Port Lucaya alone, hundreds of hotel workers are out of work, while their Memories and Grand Lucayan resorts are now closed due to hurricane damage. Darville says that fact has not gone unnoticed by the government.
We're looking at ways now to make sure that we move swiftly to revive the economy of Grand Bahama, which we're doing in conjunction with our stakeholders in the Grand Bahama Port Authority.
And while Darville admits there is still a lot of long-term work to do, he says they have completed a major milestone in the city of Freeport by clearing all roadways of debris. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
When our news comes back, we've got more details on the Culinary Olympics. The countdown is on for the Red Dress Soiree, a fashion show with a cause, and the Cable Cares Foundation makes some big donations to a number of youth organizations. Stay with us.